Okay. One of those seconds. All right, hello everybody. How you doing today? It's Jimmy from Sawgrass, and a special shout out to my partner in crime for many of these, Megan, who you notice is not here. So that means we'll be able to do all kinds of things without her getting in my way, right? No, it means I'm going to be kind of lonely. But Megan actually is here. Megan's going to be in the background, and she's going to be there answering your questions. I'm sure she's going to be making fun of me like she loves to do and making all kinds of great comments. So Megan, you take care of that back end for me while I'm out here on the front end, right? So why am I wearing the sunglasses? Well, it's bright in here, okay? You guys wouldn't imagine how bright it is in here, but our focus today is on the tourism market, and therefore I've named it Been There, Done That, okay? And what does that have to do with the tourist market? Well, let me tell you. A whole lot of the tourism market is about buying souvenirs to say, hey, I went somewhere and did something. Like today, I'm wearing a shirt. This is from St. Thomas, okay? And see, has that on the back. So it's a been there, done that. And I'm a big t-shirt guy. I mean, I buy t-shirts everywhere I go. I've been producing t-shirts for like over half my life. And you know, so when I travel, I tend to buy t-shirts and other things too. In fact, when we start talking about travel, I was just counting it up for fun earlier. I've been to 13 different Caribbean locations, okay? That's a lot of places, and I bought more than one t-shirt, so that's a lot of t-shirts, right? Okay, so what we're gonna do here today with my format, since you have me just all by myself, we're gonna go through, I do have a PowerPoint here, so I wanna be able to show you some facts and figures, okay, about the marketplace itself, the opportunities of the marketplace, how the marketplace works for doing tourism, okay? Got some great pictures in there along the way. And then I, by myself, without Megan's help, okay, and contrary to what Lori thinks, I'm gonna be able to create something all by myself and put it over here and have it come out, and it's gonna look great, okay? So, have to prove myself again, right? But that's okay, I don't mind doing that. So I'm going to switch over for just a few minutes and give you a little bit of facts and physical data and all this other kind of stuff. So let's go ahead with that real quick. All right, so we're talking about the tourist marketplace, okay? The marketplace. Now, when we look at statistics, statistics can tell us a lot and it can tell us nothing if you really want to know. So the travel and tourism industry is one of the largest industries worldwide, or at least it was before the pandemic, and it's coming back, so there's going to be opportunities there. In 2019, revenues were about 7.6 trillion US dollars worldwide. Can you imagine that number, 7.6 trillion, you know? How would you like to have 10% of that? How would you like to have 1% of that? I would, okay? But the travel and tourism industry, being as big as it is, has a lot of different categories. And that particular number was not just limited to sublimation, obviously, right? It was including things like souvenir products, hospitality, theme parks, transportation, cruise lines, casinos, and more. So we're going to narrow that down into just one little focus, and today it's going to be souvenir products, because that's something that each and every one of you can do with sublimation quite easily, all right? So that's our focus, souvenir products, making products that tourists would buy when they're on vacation or wherever and take home, okay? Now this has been one of my big marketplaces. In fact, I think we've been doing Jimmy Lamb's Life over the last 3 or 4 weeks, because we started with the fishing market, and then we did the boating market, and now we're doing the tourist market. And those have been my 3 best markets in my entire life. And one kind of led to the next, and etc. So yes, spent a lot of time in this marketplace. Had my own artists on staff creating stuff and learned how it worked. And trust me, it's like any other marketplace. If you don't know how it works, it's hard to sell into it, okay? It's not just like knocking on the door of some place that sells souvenirs and say, hi, I'm Jimmy, would you like to buy something? That's not how it really works, okay? So I'm gonna try and help you out as we go. So let's ask a question here. What is a souvenir, all right? A souvenir is a way for a person, okay, much like yourself, who visits a special location or attraction to take a piece of that memorable location home. There's a lot of psychology here because, like it or not, most people like other people to know what it is they've done, okay? So if they're actually wearing a t-shirt that says, like on the back of mine, St. Thomas, it's like, hi, I'm Jimmy, I've been to St. Thomas. See my t-shirt? But I don't have to tell you that. You can just see it on the shirt. Makes me special, right? Well, maybe in my own mind, okay? But that's the reality of it. People taking home souvenirs. And they're not all t-shirts either, okay? I mean, there's so many other things, useful things like mugs and products like that. Some of the things that we'll look at today. But it really does let you say, been there, done that, okay? Now, if we also think about vacation, how many times have you been on vacation and spent way more money than you meant to, okay? As I like to say, people go on vacation, they take their gold card and leave, oh boy, I'm stuttering today. It must be Wednesday, okay? People go on vacation, they take the gold credit card and leave their brain at home, okay? And then they buy all this stuff, a whole lot of that maybe we made, that they didn't really need to begin with, but they were so infatuated with being there that they bought it all up and then they took it home. In the case of Megan, for example, she will buy anything that has to do with Disney. I can only imagine how many suitcases she has to take somewhere to like Orlando just for all of her souvenir products. But that's Megan, okay? All right, so souvenir sales. Remember, we're talking now about souvenir sales, not just the whole marketplace, but the souvenir sales. Gifts, souvenirs, and novelty items generated over $7.8 billion in sales in the United States in 2019. That's still a lot of money, okay? Now we're talking about the actual piece of the market that we can tap into. And if you really break it down, the marketplace with souvenirs kind of falls into two different categories that we can participate in. The first is called name drops, and I'm going to explain that one to you, okay? And I'm actually going to demonstrate it to you as well. And the other is icons and landscapes, okay? So let's define what that means. Name drops, okay? Name drops. What the heck is a name drop? Well, so much of what we do with souvenir merchandise is about name drops. And there's a lot of psychology behind that, okay? Because the idea here is the name drop says a location of where you've been. So it's, let's say just for a minute that it was a picture of a beach with a sunset, all right? And that's the image. I could drop in Charleston underneath, Key West underneath. I could drop in any of the Caribbean islands underneath. So the cool thing is I have one design and I can just drop in different names depending on the location, which works really good for production. And so that's what the whole name drops is about. Can we create an image and then drop in different location names as we go? All right, so that's really, really big for people that do souvenirs as a full-time type of business. So name drops, okay, because really and truly people want to say, been there, done that. And as you can see the picture here, for example, it's a tote bag, has a nice image, and it says Lisbon, all right? So it's getting that message out. Now, I call this the Hard Rock effect. If you look at Hard Rock Cafe, most people think Hard Rock Cafe is a restaurant that sells burgers, and they also sell t-shirts on the side. That's totally wrong. They're actually a souvenir shop that sells hamburgers, okay? Because a majority of their revenues are actually coming from all those products they sell that say Hard Rock Cafe. Now, how many of you out there have never heard of Hard Rock Cafe? Raise your hand so I can see you, right? I don't see any hands raised. And the reality is, everyone's heard of Hard Rock Cafe. Now, it must be their great advertising, right? Their Super Bowl ads are so cool. No, they don't do Super Bowl ads whatsoever. They don't do any advertising, except maybe the Hard Rock casinos, okay? I've seen those advertised. What they do is people come in and buy overpriced t-shirts that say Hard Rock, just like on my PowerPoint there. That one says Orlando, okay? It says Hard Rock Orlando, right? They didn't buy it because it said Hard Rock. They bought it because it said Orlando and it had a cool design on there. Do I have Hard Rock shirts? Well, of course I do, okay? I just forgot to wear one today. Okay. One of my favorites is from Barcelona. Yes, I've been to Barcelona, so that's how I tell the world I've been to Barcelona with my Hard Rock shirt. Okay, because it says Barcelona underneath. Now, here's what's really cool, right? The customer buys the shirt that's way overpriced, and they get to say, hey, look where I've been. Hard Rock gets free advertising. No, let me rephrase that. Hard Rock gets paid advertising because the customer is paying them to advertise for them, which, by the way, has always been one of my taglines. You might have heard that before, but when I'm selling souvenir products, this is another line that I like to use when I go in and say, how would you like it if I could show you a way to have your customer pay you to advertise for you? That's what they do. When they buy the souvenir products and you're a store selling souvenir products as a retailer, every time your customer buys, you're making money, okay? Now, in the case of Hard Rock, they're making money and selling their name, okay? And so they're getting the advertising. For everybody else, if you're just a souvenir shop, you're just making money, right? Okay, keep that in mind. That can be powerful. Now, the number one thing on a good souvenir product is the name drop, okay? You gotta tell people where you've been, right? The second is a graphic. People like a good graphic. So graphics are important too. So you need a good graphic and you need that name drop, because I tell you, when people start shopping, they're looking for eye-catching graphics, but if they don't have the name drop on there, they may not buy it. So you gotta have both, okay? So you gotta think about those graphics, and hopefully, again, you can find a graphic, create a graphic, and we got some really good ones actually in Creative Studio throughout. I mean, I was just looking at the ones that are in the Great Dane premium designs. And there's some nice beach scenes and everything else here that I can see name drops just dropping in real easy, if you know what I mean. Okay, so we have to think about that too, is good graphics. Takes that as well. All right, so what are some popular name drop souvenirs for sublimation? Apparel, drinkware, ornaments, and totes. Let's look at that real quick. Here's a couple of t-shirts. It's obvious when you look at them that they are souvenir tourist type of products. Paris. The person wearing it probably went to Paris. They didn't have to, unless it was only sold in Paris. But that's a pretty cool design. I like the design. It has Eiffel Tower right there for the A. That is a neat design. So it's got good graphics and it's got a name drop. Then you have Anguilla, and the Anguilla shirt, again, has a really nice, actually a photo from up high on a mountain, because a lot of the Caribbean islands do have mountains. And then they got the name of it, okay? So there you go. Another great product in the apparel line. Drinkware, tons of stuff. By the way, I do collect shot glasses. Not for shots, actually. I have all kinds of shot glasses from places like Alaska, for example. You see a mug there with Alaska, but a lot of people collect drinkware products, and that's another great category for souvenirs, something that all of us can do, because we have the equipment, we have the ability to do it as well. But you notice every single one of the items and everything that comes up on my PowerPoint pictures has a name drop in there, okay? So has a name drop, has a graphic. Then we finally have here these ornaments. Now, there's a problem with these ornaments. I didn't do these, just so you know, okay? If you follow me enough, you know that I like backgrounds. I think backgrounds make all the difference. This is a great example of what it looks like when you don't have a background. I think any one of these I could have put in, if I did them, a decent little background, not too overwhelming, and it would have really enhanced the ornaments tremendously, which raises the perceived value, which means I make what? More money. And it's all about making what? More money. So you do want to keep that in mind. But like my wife collects Christmas ornaments, okay? So every trip we take, she loads up on Christmas ornaments as souvenir products. So different strokes, different folks, but keep those things in mind because we can produce them. And then we have the tote bags. And what happens is when they start stocking up on all the other stuff, they got to buy a tote bag to carry it around in, right? But you see the same thing here. What is going on? It's got the name of the place and it has the imaging on there. You know, like you see Berlin on the far right, which I used to live in Berlin. I know that right there, the Brandenburg Gate. We have London in the middle. We have Maine with a good old lobster on there, okay? So these are nice souvenir products. Each of these you could have made easily with your Sawgrass system, all right? Okay, icons and landscapes. This is the other category. First category is name drops, which is the most common. The second is what I call icons and landscapes, because a lot of times all we're doing is creating an image, in most cases a photograph, that's so well known, it doesn't even need a name drop, okay? Look at these two here. The very first one, the Taj Mahal. I don't think we really have to put Taj Mahal on there, do we? Okay? You could just put that on things and sell it like it is without the name drop. The second one, we don't really know where it is. I happen to know where it is. It's in Holland, and a lot of people might recognize that as being in Holland. But you follow what I'm saying? If you had a good picture of the Washington Monument, would you have to put the Washington Monument on it? Probably not, okay? So those of you that are actually photographers and do good quality photos, you may be able to sell them. Now, keep in mind that a picture of the Washington Monument is a picture of the Washington Monument is a picture of the Washington Monument or not. Good professional photographers, one of which is on the other side of the camera, they know how to look at things from different angles where suddenly you see the Washington Monument like you never have before. And someone's going to buy that. If I took the picture, they're going to be like, that looks just like the picture that my daddy took. Why would I buy it, right? So keep those things in mind if you're trying to do your own photography. How can you do it different, and can you look professional with it, okay? All right, so let's talk a little bit of sales and marketing, and then Jimmy's going to get to work, all right? So if you want to get into this marketplace, this is a really good marketplace, but it is competitive, just like all the other markets out there. But I will tell you that, for me, I never sold direct. I sold to retail stores, and then they resell it. And obviously, you want to get as cheap as I can and market up as much as I can. And the key always for me was the uniqueness of what I was selling. If it looked like something they could get anywhere, then I didn't stand out. If I showed them products that they didn't think they could get anywhere else, I had a much better shot with being able to sell to them. Okay, and remember, you're also competing against mass production overseas, which actually can be an advantage, believe it or not, and I'm going to tell you why in just a minute. So don't get scared off by that you think that, well, I'm competing against the overseas, I can't touch that price. No, you can't. Don't worry about it, okay? Because sometimes there's other advantages. Okay, so key points. Your designs should be unique to you, okay? Because if I can only get it from you, that means there is no competition to you. I can't get it anywhere else. Store owner is going to look for something that sells. They don't want to be stuck with stuff that doesn't. So they're grading it on its sellability, okay? Yeah, sure, they care about the price, okay? Then there's another thing. When they buy from overseas, they got to buy in a huge quantity, and they don't know how well it will or will not sell. You can produce in a small quantity, meaning that they can actually get a chance to try out your products and see how well they sell before they make a big investment. Because if they buy a big bunch of products from somewhere else and they don't sell well, they're stuck with it no matter how cheap it was. And that's a problem. And I learned this. I learned this firsthand by talking to the owners of a store. So typically these things started to wrap into how I'm going to go sell things. I wanted to make sure that I didn't look like anybody else out there. I wanted to make sure that you were only getting it from me and it would be hard to get it anywhere else, okay? I would go into stores, look and listen to tourists, see what they said, see what they were buying, see what they're complaining about, all those kind of things there. And then I understood the concept of someone having to buy 10,000 pieces of something and it might not even sell. So my first approach going in the door becomes, hey, I could just sell you 48 to 60 pieces. Maybe it's coffee mugs, right? And we can mix and match images and name drops and whatever else and see what sells. You actually get to test the product before you invest in a big supply. And when you run low, I can have you 48 more within a week. See, a lot of those big companies that sold them 10,000 pieces, that's for the whole year. You don't get to reorder it. Who wants to reorder 10,000 in the middle of the season anyway, right? Because those are the only quantities you can get. Now, they look at my price and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so expensive compared to this other people. I said, yeah, but you don't have any risk. You got 48 pieces. What kind of risk is that? You're going to sell them, okay? So what if they cost more? You're going to sell them. And now you know what sells good. You want a better price? Next time, why don't you order 4,800 pieces? Imagine doing 4,800 pieces on a single Mug press. Wow, that would be kind of killer, okay? But that's a problem I want to have, okay? So these are some of the approaches that I would have. Go in, really good stuff, point out that I can turn it around fast. They can buy small quantities and try them out so they don't have a risk, okay? So now I'm giving them another reason to work with me, the short run production as I call it, all right? Last thing I want to mention real quick is copyrights and trademarks. And in this case, I'm talking about you, okay? If you're creating your own stuff to sell, you've got to realize that if it sells good, other people are going to see it and they're going to copy it and they're going to rip you off. Now, I know you start saying, I'm going to get a lawyer, I'm going to go sue them. Well, you know what? You can. But that tends to be expensive and can be long and drawn out. And so one of the things in my early days of doing the souvenirs, and I had some pretty good mentors along the way, and somebody just told me, he said, listen, you make a lot more money going out and selling than you do trying to litigate. He says, when you're litigating, you're paying out money, and it can take a long time to sue somebody who maybe doesn't even have any money anyway. He said, since you know people are going to copy your stuff, always just be creating new stuff and just let them do it, okay? Just always be ahead of the game. If you're always making new stuff, you're making sales. And that's the way I pretty much approached it. I've had a few cases where I've had my copyright lawyer go after somebody, but for the most part, I just kept churning out new stuff, new designs, new ideas, and just stayed ahead. Because by the time people were copying my stuff, that was last year's. This is a new year. And the store owners want new stuff every year, so be ready for that, okay? Now, on the flip side, make sure that you're not accidentally stepping into stealing somebody else's work, even if by mistake. So make sure you're not reproducing something that is copyrighted or trademarked. Just got to be careful, right? All right, so that's a whole lot of knowledge and experience crammed in really fast. So I hope that you got it all. All right, so let's put it all together. Let's have some fun. You saw little bits and pieces of my turtle as we went, okay? So the turtle that I'm showing you now is a turtle that I took a picture of in Barbados. And I was snorkeling, and this turtle swam between my knees. Now, the turtle looks really big in the picture. I'm here to tell you the turtle wasn't that big, okay? But I got a great picture with my GoPro on the end of a stick, and as he came by, and I took this picture. I've been in love with this picture because when you actually sit down and study it, you can see the bottom and a lot of details and stuff. So this right here is a great picture for a tourist product, all right? So we're gonna turn this into a tourist product using our wonderful creative studio. So let me get out of here and work my way over into Creative Studio, and we will start creating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this onto an 8x10 piece of Chromolux. So my first step here is we'll go look under blank products and go to, I think the one I want is on the page 3. It's either page 3 or 4. Trying to jump ahead, and yeah, no, Megan would already be there. I can already hear Megan like, come on, Jimmy, you're going really slow. I would have already been finished by now. But I know how Megan is. You guys know how Megan is. So, you know, she just needs to be patient, right? All right, we're looking for 8x10. There's an 8x10 portrait. I need it as landscape for this job. So I'll change it into landscape. Now I'm going to take the turtle, and by the way, I've already uploaded the turtle into my gallery, so I can just go grab the turtle, and it'll be under my images, and there's a turtle, and we're going to bring the turtle in. Now, the turtle doesn't quite fit, and I have no problem on this one with unlocking the aspect ratio, and then just kind of, you know, we say distorting it, but you're never going to notice it. And the turtle's not going to know because he's still down in Barbados somewhere. So I'm going to unlock the aspect ratio, and now I'm going to use that to be able to completely fill in my area. So it really doesn't change the turtle. I mean, you could see a little bit of variation in it, but it didn't change very much. Tourist is never going to know that. So now we got our turtle there looking at us. I'm like, hey, that's great. What is it we need next? That's right, we need a name drop, all right? Now, when we start looking at text for name drops, one of the great things that Creative Studio has that drives me absolutely up the wall is a gazillion fonts, okay? So that's why it's good. The bad problem is you got to go through all to figure out what's right. And unlike Megan, who just seems to know instantly what she wants, me, I am more of a connoisseur. I need a little bit of time to just sample, you know what I mean? The different text fonts till I find the right thing, all right? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a couple of different fonts up there and experiment to see if I can find what it is that works best for me. So I clicked on text. I'm going to go to Creative Studio where they all are housed, all 1,000,001 of them. And let's see, maybe for example, we'll scroll down and you know how that goes, right? We're going to scroll a little bit, see if anything jumps out at us to put on there. And I haven't seen anything just yet. I don't know what I want, you know, so it's a matter of you're kind of looking and saying, yeah, let's try something, maybe a script. We'll do the Allura normal, okay? So we're going to come over and type in Barbados, because that's all I really want is Barbados. B-A-R-B-A-D-O-S. And we'll make it larger so we can see it. That's the hard way. Let's do it the easy way. We'll make it larger so we can see it. I'm just going to leave it black for right now, and I'm just going to move it down, because right now I'm just sampling fonts, okay? Follow that, just sampling fonts. Now, as you can see it down at the bottom, I can keep on sampling for the rest of the day, and I'm not going to do it that way. I actually have gone through and sampled a few fonts earlier, and I went ahead and put them into favorites. So you know that with fonts, every time you have a heart, you can click on the heart and it goes into your favorites file. Now, with the premium version, which I have, you can pretty much favorite as much as you want, and that's very useful. So I've actually got more than all the ones that I want to use on here, but out of here, there's about 4 that I'm going to put on here for us to look at and see what you think, even though I get to make the final decision. So one of them that I got was the Belligerent Madness, which kind of describes me. So I thought that I would put that on here. And again, it's just Barbados. And we will enlarge it. And you see it has a totally different look to it. So I'm just going to kind of bring it down here so I can see what it looks like. And then I'm going to go to the Friole, and this one, type in Barbados. And again, let's make it larger. And this one's really kind of cool. So I like that one because it's, look at the edges of the text, okay? It's kind of, and we make this a little bit larger there. It has some interesting edging and looking to it, some texture to it. See, that one I do like. I don't need too dumb book. I got corrected yesterday. I've been calling it Z dumb book. So thank you for the person that corrected me, you know, live. It's too dumb book, whatever. Still a dumb name, or I don't know. But anyway, the last one that I went through and looked at was Destroy. So I'm going to use Destroy. And we're going to put in Barbados. And we will make Destroy quite a bit larger. And now we're going to put it up there. Okay. And this is really how I think things through, is putting multiple fonts up there and then playing around to say, which one do I really like? Okay. Now, I want this to be special. I'm trying to have a fun Caribbean feeling to it. Okay, so I'm trying to think about certain things, not just here's a font, here's a picture. All right, I'm trying to really kind of create a story, a feeling, a mood, or whatever. And the first one that goes away to me is the script. The script is just too clean. It just doesn't fit with what I think we should have. Okay, no offense to Barbados, nice clean place, been there. But anyway, so that one's going to go away. So now I've got 3 left, and I kind of like all 3. I mean, all 3 kind of reach out and say something to me. But you know what? I think the one in the middle is just too bold, okay? It's too overwhelming because I don't want to overwhelm my turtle. So I'm going to take this one here, which is Friole, and I'm going, I think I said that right. And I'm sure if I didn't, Megan's correcting me somewhere. And I'm going to take that off. Now that leaves me 2 left, 2 here. And I like them both, but I tell you what I like the best, the top one, okay? Destroy. That's the name of it. So I'm going to take the bottom one out. And I'm going to move this guy down. Now this is way too big because it's covering up the turtle's head, right? We don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and let's shrink him down. And let's see, do I have the lock aspect ratio? Yes. I need to unlock it. And now I'm going to make it where it's not quite as tall, because I got to squeeze it between the edge without going over the edge and the head of the turtle. So we're just working our way down. We're still in the bleed. It should be okay there. I know it looks really close, but it's on 8 by 10. The spacing should be okay. Now, I like the font. I don't like the color. And the black just, I don't know, is there, and I don't like it. It's just too much in your face. And if you make it white, I don't think white's gonna work either, okay? So let's go to our fill color, and we can play a little bit. Now, if I made it white, that's what it looks like. And white's not bad, but it just, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me, because the whole turtle color scheme with the water and everything, it is good, but then the white just seems like it came in from left field somewhere. So let's play around a little bit with color. So I'm gonna actually go into the blue family, and I'm gonna work around a little bit and just kind of play with sort of some aqua looking, where it's not as overwhelming. And to me, it looks like maybe it belongs better. So you see, we can do all kinds of things, but I kind of like being over in this area with it, okay? And I also want to put an outline in there, but you gotta be careful with a font like this. Very much outline is just, it might even mess up the font. So I'm gonna choose outline, and I'm gonna choose black as my outline. So now I'll go to stroke, and I'm just barely gonna put a little tiny smidgen of black in there, just barely, okay? Because what it does is it emphasizes kind of, there you go. It's just barely there. But it emphasizes all those little cracks in there, and it actually reminds me of the coral that's down below. Okay, that's what I like about the font. It actually kind of looks like the coral down below. Now, some of you really good artists out there, you might be kind of like, oh, you know what, maybe you should use this or use that. That's fine, but this one's mine, so this is what I'm using. Now, there's one other thing I thought about using on here, okay? I got my Barbados, I got my turtle, everything's ready to go. Is there something else I can do to also make it a little bit more authentic Barbados, all right? So what I did do earlier is I did a couple of things. One of the things I did is, when I'm researching things like this, is I went to the Barbados tourist site, okay, run by Barbados. And I started looking at logos and fonts and things of how they did stuff. And decided that those weren't gonna work for me, but you know, I'll look, because sometimes it gives me ideas. But I did see their flag, and I'm like, what if I drop their flag in here too? So I'm gonna go back to galleries. I've already uploaded their flag. It's in my images. And so I'm gonna take their flag and just stick it in there real quick. And then we're gonna try to figure out whether we really wanna do this or not. So I'm gonna scale the flag way down and put it in the top corner. Now, I got mixed feelings about this, because I was playing a little bit earlier with the flag. Now, if I put the flag in there, I just put another piece of Barbados onto my product. But the thing is, when you look at the colors are royal and yellow. Is there any royal or yellow anywhere else in this? Because I like pulling colors out of things. Like, for example, if it was the right situation, maybe the lettering would be royal blue or yellow, because then it ties into the flag, right? But it doesn't tie into the turtle. I already tried that, by the way. So, you know, it's kind of a up in the air thing as to whether the flag works or not, okay? So I'm just gonna leave it there. We'll print it out, see what we think. That's all I can say about it, right? Okay. So I think that I am ready to roll with this, and let's see what happens. So we're gonna go ahead and set it up to print. And that's the wrong printer. We're going to go to our printer that is ready, our SG1000, the one that is sitting here. We got mirror, we got metal. We're using TruePix Classic. We're using photographic mode, and print quality is high quality. So I'm going to go ahead and set it to print. And it's going to think for a minute, and then it'll give us another window, and you know how that goes. We'll go from there. So hopefully, Megan, you're out there fielding all the questions, because I am not looking at Facebook right now. I am just focusing on this. I am not you, Megan, meaning that I have like 5,000 screens in front of me. I just decided I was going to have a camera in front of me and hope for the best with you. So anyway, you know, it's just not the same without you here. I mean, if I talk bad to Alex over there, he's going to make me turn green on the screen or something. You never talk bad to your camera people, see, because they can make you look bad. So we got to be careful about that. So anyway, hope that everything's going well on your end, and I'm just waiting as this processes through. I have an older computer. It's very slow, but it should be ready here because I can tell it's thinking. And any minute now, it will be ready to print, and then we'll be ready to continue from there. While we're doing that, this is an 8x10 piece of Chromolux, and I have my settings of 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is also 204.4 degrees Celsius. And I'm using a fairly significant amount of pressure on this, and I'm going to go for 90 seconds on it once this finally does go and print out. So come on, I still see the little wheel turning. It comes and goes. So, and you know, our internet in here is not known to be the fastest, is it, Alex? So while I'm still waiting on that part, I know tomorrow that Megan has a live by herself, so I won't be here to annoy her, but I will be in the background annoying her. And then next week I'll be back, and we have some really interesting things happening next week. Busy week this week, busy week next week. And Megan, yeah, I think everybody's aware of her podcast. I mean, she's got podcasts just on this, that, and everything. So
Megan says change the paper to U.S. tabloid.
Thank you, Megan. I missed something there, didn't I? Yes, I did miss that. I was so busy thinking about Megan and the fact that she wasn't here that I didn't have the right one chosen. So, see, if Megan had been here, she wouldn't have let me do that. She would have made a point of, you know, pointing it out, of course, but because Megan's good for that. And that's why I need to have Megan, you know, around. And that's why all of you need to have Megan around. So, okay, print has been successfully queued. So now we're waiting. Here, I'll have some water while we're waiting. Is this one of these things where, you know, you ever learn how to talk and drink water at the same time? All right, let's see if we can just go ahead and pull it up there that way. Let's see on our layout. There's US tabloid. So, let's see, our material's good. Our layout is good. And let's hit the print button. Spinning wheel. And we still have spinning wheel. There it goes, finally. I had faith. And thank you, Megan, for that extra little tidbit there. Okay, so while that's printing out, as you know, most Chromolux panels do come with a plastic coating on them. Almost all of us have attempted to sublimate it with the coating on it before, and we have found that doesn't normally work. If you can't get it started, this time I was able to get it started, just take a corner of it and touch it just for a second or two under your platen, and it will melt the corner enough that you can grab it. This one, luckily, I was able to grab, and I can just go ahead and pull it straight off all by myself. Ta-da! So that is off. And now we're waiting for our final printout. And here it goes. And we will now get everything lined up here. Now I do have to you know what? This is 8x10. I used the 8x10, but it's not quite edge to edge. I gotta adjust it. So let's see what we got going on here. try. This is an 8 by 10 image, but it didn't quite fill it all in. That's oh well, Jimmy's at it again. Yeah, that's what I was going to do. So let's go into our layout here, and let's change this right here, and let's see what our numbers come out to. And we will make this just a little bit. Let's make it about 10.2. And this end of things will be at 10.2, 7.9. Let's make that one a little bit bigger. So one of the things I'm doing here is we actually can stretch things out, and that's why it's in there. With it, boy, it didn't like that number, did it? So let's do it that way again. We can change the size of it within our SPM, so that if we do have an emergency here, we can go ahead and take care of that. So I did make it 10.5 by 8.195. So I'm going to print it again. See, more learning. Would anybody like a souvenir piece of paper? So hopefully the new dimensions will take care of what we need here. Okay, and that took care of the problem. So, if you ever find yourself in that situation, see how it worked out for the best. You learned a new trick, right? Okay, so let's move on, and I'm going to go ahead and tape this into place. We got it face down on our design, and we are about ready here. So I'm going to place this in face down here and put a piece of paper over it. And then we're going to lock it down. So, wish me luck. And if it doesn't work this time, it's, who can we blame? Who's not in here? We'll find someone to blame. But anyway, we got just a little bit of time on this, and it should come out. I think it's going to come out really nice. So give it just a minute here. Got 1 minute left. I should have named the turtle. People have asked me, did you name the turtle? And it's like, well, I'm never going to see it again, so it's going to be really hard to keep up with it. I didn't bring a collar or anything like that. But I was with my kids, and one of my children, she names everything, okay? I mean, everything. Even if it's not even really alive. Like we have a swimming pool that has a little vacuum that moves around by itself. So she actually gave the vacuum a name. Okay, so I mean, yeah, she's like that. But anyway, so almost there, 35 seconds left. But this is really and truly, this is one of the photos I've shared with you. It's one of my favorite photos that I've ever taken because it's one of the few that ever came out, okay? I'm just not a great photographer. Maybe next time we'll show you one from Alaska with me and sled dogs. How's that sound? Okay, that one actually came out pretty good. Totally other end from this, okay? Because it's a little bit of white stuff on the ground there. All right, we're almost there. And we will use the glove. So as I keep joking, I'm already able to rob banks because I don't have any fingerprints, but I actually do. All right, here we go. That comes off. This goes on the floor. Love to be able to do that. There's no one here to tell me I can't do that. And this comes off. And as you will see, lettering is near the bottom. I knew it was when I put the paper down, but that was fine by me. That is our end product. We got the full coverage there. Even though I had to make that one adjustment there, which I call at when it printed out, it came out well. Now, it's up to you. I left the flag on there. I wanted you to see what it looked like with the flag on there, because is that flag like too much? You know, is that flag too much where it's like jumping out at you? I'm not going to put my finger down on it, but I mean, you know, if you put your fingers over it, does it really take away not to have the flag? So these are the kind of things, those little artistic things that you have to think about when you're putting things together, and what works for you or not. And of course you can see it on the screen. So it's not like you got to go out and make 5 of these and figure out which is the best one. But there you go. We have a nice tourist product there. We could sell that, and we could sell that for a fairly nice amount of money because as you can see, it is very glossy. It's something people would hang on the wall. It's something that's a memory that someone would have forever, okay? Makes a nice present if you wanted to give it to somebody. Maybe your whole family's there on a cruise or something, and the picture's been taken. Not your family, but someone's family's there, and they actually want to create something and come to you to just create a personalized tourist kind of product. And you just go in and put in all the details. So you can also be doing this as just a personalization product as well as feeding the tourist market. But anyway, that's a snapshot of the tourist market and some of the opportunities for you. Up to you which way you want to go. Lots of fun with this marketplace. It really is, because once you start creating cool stuff that is yours, okay? Because now you don't have to worry about matching somebody's logo and getting the colors right. You're selling your stuff. But let me tell you what, the coolest thing in the world, is when you're walking down the street, maybe in another town, somewhere away from home, and you see something that you created and produced that someone else is wearing, in the case of apparel. That is cool, okay? Something you can do with sublimation. So anyway, that concludes my speeching for the day. How are we doing out there in your end of the world, Megan? I know it's not like she can talk to me there, but I believe you're monitoring it there, Alex. Let me see if I can get to the chat there. Yep, there it is. Oh, yeah, we have quite a few people hanging out there. Excellent, excellent. I may be late on, I'm just scanning through them. I like this one. It says, "This is work, Jimmy, not a wine tasting tour." Okay, so that's good, you know. That sounds like a Vic comment too. Oh, it's Lori. Okay. So like I said, it may have come a while back because I haven't been watching any of the Facebook chats as we were going. I needed to focus in case I made a little boo-boo, okay? So I think it came out pretty well though. Yeah, don't give Vic credit for that. Okay, sorry, my bad. Sorry about that. So, All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I've kept you guys here for a long time, and it went by kind of fast for me. I hope it went by fast for you. I hate to think that you're like, oh boy, when's this going to end? I mean, wait, because wine tasting tours sometimes do take a long time. But I want to thank everybody for coming out today. I really appreciate it. I had a great time being in front of you today, and it was nice to not have to be here with Megan, but I always enjoy being with Megan. And to be honest, I did miss her. Okay, so, but she was there, you know, poking me along in the background. So it was great. I'll be back next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I'll be back on a live with Megan. We have a very special announcement. Okay, so we want you to be there. That's all I can tell you. Okay, you're just going to have to sit through the holiday weekend on pins and needles, wondering what the heck it is that Jimmy and Megan are up to. And I think you're going to be impressed. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks again, everybody. And we'll see you next week, or I'll see you next week. But remember, tomorrow, Megan's on, so tune in for that. Okay? All right. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.